Hello guys, welcome to the channel. I hope you're having a lovely weekend. This is a little bit of analysis of the Icon Series Philippines, which is going on over the course of this weekend. And there are a couple of games from day one that I wanted to break down. Now, of course, I am going to look at the finals. I am going to look at day two in the next week, but I watched as part of the watch party on the Wild Rift competitive Discord, and there were some absolutely nutty strategies coming out in day one. The first strategy that I want to talk about is between Execration and RRQ, and Execration pulled out a double jungle strategy in actually a game that they needed to win as well. This wasn't a game that they could afford to have a throwaway. This is a game that they needed to win to keep themselves in the Icon series. So they pulled out a double jungle strategy with jungle Wukong and jungle Gragas. I'm going to move it back a little bit so we can kind of get a little bit earlier. 8 seconds. This is pretty good. So I'm going to start here, and I've got it on 1.5 times speed. So we're going to go through these VODs relatively quickly. So we're going to be looking at this game played in 1.5 times because I have another game that I want to talk about that happened later in the day. So we're doing 2 games in one in this video, but I don't want it to be a ridiculously long video, so I'm going to play the games in 1.5 times speed. We're still going to get all the analysis done. We're still going to look at the game. This is how I actually VOD review in general. I either play a VOD review on a 2 times speed or a 1.5 times speed, because I can absorb the information without the need for all like the people just walking across the map slowly, right? So we're going to do this in 1.5 times speed. This is going to be like a VOD review that I usually do. If you like the content, feel free to like, subscribe, and hit the bell. That would be amazing, because you guys have all been fantastic so far, and I really want to break down more esports stuff. And so I really want to know if you like it. I know a lot of people do, but you know, just throw the comments down if you do like it. Throw the likes down; it would be really appreciative. So the comps. Let's have a look at the comps. It is difficult to break down this one. It is Corki mid, Jin Dragon lane, like Wukong jungle and Gragas jungle. And then obviously the Camille in the Baron lane. I wish I knew how to analyze this. My assumption is that you go aggressive into Vi's jungle and you just look to be as much of a nuisance as possible. Plus, you kind of do like a 2-man roaming gank, because Wukong's gank setup isn't particularly strong, whereas Gragas, he has the body slam. You know, at level 5, he has the cask as well. His ganks become a little bit stronger. So, you know, Wukong and Gragas roaming together is probably a pretty strong duo. You should get all of the scuttle control early game as well, and you should be relatively good at securing the first dragon because you've got double smite. So my thought process is, if you're going double jungle, you're looking to deny resources away from your enemy. You're looking to secure neutral objectives very early on. And you're just looking to do like a 2-man roaming gank squad. On the other side, you've got Fiora, designed to match the Camille in the side lane. Then you have Alistair, Vi, Kai'Sa, and Kennen. Good neutral objective control, great team fighting even without the Fiora. Fiora can just come in and clean up while the CC's going down. So generally, they've got a pretty good team fight comp, especially at level 5 with Kennen, and level 5 with Alistair. Like Alistair level 5 and Kennen level 5 is super strong. Fiora is specifically designed to match the Camille in the side lane, but obviously can join the team fights if she needs to. But you know, I think we need to analyze this as it goes realistically, because I want to see how it plays out. Okay, so it looks like Gragas is starting blue side, Wukong is starting red side. So this is not a mistake. You know, the teams actually can remake if they make a mistake in Champion Select, as far as I'm aware. It happened actually during the watch party. A mistake was made, and they got to reset the game. So we're going to see essentially Gragas clearing the entire top side jungle, Wukong clearing the entire bot side jungle. Now, they need to do something extra. It looks like Gragas is just going to take the Gromp, and I believe Wukong will end up getting the blue buff here. But yeah, you need to do something extra if you're Gragas and Wukong in this scenario. Like, you need to just kind of step up and actually make a play. They actually put the Jin top lane into the Fiora, so they took the Camille out of the bad 1v1 matchup. And Camille's now by herself trying to just clear waves on the bot side of the map. It looks like they are hard farming the Krugs here. I'm guessing they're going to try and set up for a tower dive onto the Fiora. You can see Jin is just trying to hard push. I mean, Camille got forced out of that lane very quickly. They have the Corki rotating up here. Now, obviously, this is where if you group up under tower, look how little damage this tower takes when there are 4 people near it. Like they're hammering away, and they've only just got the first plate down. But I think the tower is the secondary thing here. They want to go for the kill on Fiora, but they don't manage to get it. But again, this is pre 3 minutes. Like you can't do these big grouped up tower dives anymore. This kind of feels like someone just didn't read the patch notes, because look, you've given so much time over to RRQ to respond. Viper by himself, by the way, is in the lane where the tower is not impacted by the resistance changes, and he has taken 2 plates by himself. So you have 2 plates of gold onto the Kai'Sa, and you've only just about got down to the second plate on the top side when you just committed a 4-man dive and you couldn't even kill the Fiora. So that felt like a very poor execute on the early game here for Execration, because again, if I was going to do this, I would have done it bot lane, because the bot lane tower is much easier to dive. Like if you wanted to just put like the Jhin by himself bot lane, he can clear waves with the deadly flourish and his little trap. You can just clear the waves really easily. Looks like they're just going to go for it again though, straight onto Fury. I think at this point, you know, you're past 3 minutes, you can get the tower. So they do actually get They get the tower, which is good. However, it means that they are late to reset for this dragon, and with a double smite, that's something that you're going to want to try and get your hands on. That was just a little bit late. This is the problem with the reset. This is the problem with the lane swap changes. You actually now get punished for going for a lane swap. So it's not like lane swapping isn't a viable strategy, but you clearly get punished because they were not able to reset quick enough to get onto the dragon. And when you're running double smite, like, clearly you're supposed to have good objective control. Like that spell is otherwise useless. So you're supposed to have good objective control, but you don't even get to the first objective to contest it. That to me smells like a little bit of a failure. Now the next objective coming up is obviously going to be the Rift Herald. That should be something that Execration should look towards. They did take the first tower of the game, which means they have a small gold lead to work with right now, but it looks like RRQ should be able to group up and threaten this bot lane tower as well when the next wave comes through. Now they've seen 3 people commit to that bot lane wave. I'd like to see something a bit more aggressive coming out from Execration. They are all grouped up around the Rift Tower, but it is 20 seconds till it spawns, so they should be in a relatively easy place to kind of prevent or either contest this if you're RRQ. And we have a GA already picked up for the Vi, so Vi is going to come back to life in this next fight. I think this is something that RRQ will want to try and contest, by the way. They've got a good team fight comp with the Kennen. Double smite, though, they get it, yeah. So they easily get it. I think they're just going to give over the first blood. There's the Kennen ultimate. Oh my god, the team fight is disgusting. And I think even just the Jin's dead here as well. Honestly, if I were Execration, I would have said, cool, we got the objective. That's what we came for. Just run it. Just run away. Much quicker than they did. I think they were in 2 minds because the Camille got caught, but I would have run away much quicker. Now, they aren't out of it. I mean, the gold lead has gone over to RRQ with a couple of turrets picked up. Honestly, RRQ bounced back really nicely from this. Nice flash out from Chaz, by the way, and he's going to get... Oh, actually, that's the Hextech ultimatum coming through. However, I think the response will be there for RRQ. So they burn the GA, which actually I think is important coming up to this next dragon, because if you have a double smite, you don't want to lose the Infernal Dragon. There's no way you lose the Infernal Dragon if you're trying to run double smite right now. So Execration need to take this fight and they need to win, or they need to just go for the Infernal Dragon and just get it. You know, massive overextension from the Camille. Like you don't have a tower, you have no vision, and the Infernal Dragon spawning in 20 seconds. That was a big oopsie daisy from the Camille. Massive oopsie daisy, honestly. I know Corki's got a package now, but that's going to give RRQ the time to just go to the Dragon Pit and get set up. Now, this is a nice drop of the Herald. This is good timing of the Herald drop. This creates automatic priority in the mid lane. It means it's going to be harder for now for RRQ to get set up on this Dragon. And I really want to see EXE just go through and take this with the double smite. Yeah, easy. Double smite it. Why are you fighting? Why are you fighting, guys? Just run. Yeah, that's... Bit of an oopsie daisy, honestly. Bit of an oopsie daisy. I need to just record oopsie daisy. Okay, ready? Oopsie daisy. Oopsie daisy. Oopsie daisy. Yeah, we're going to do that every time an oopsie daisy happens, so I don't have to say it over and over again. Yeah, you get Infernal. Fiora splits onto, I think it was on the Camille. Like, just run. You don't fight that. Just run. Take the Infernal. You've got the Corki. You scale up. You've got the Camille. You're scaling up. Maybe they feel like they're on a timer, but one summoner spell shouldn't make the difference in this game. You know, like you're basically trading an ignite for a smite in this particular sense. An ignite. It's good, but obviously has limited use as the game goes on, realistically. The best thing that Smite gives you in the late game is Grievous Wounds, but everybody builds Grievous Wounds anyway, right? One other thing that you're seeing is that the Gragas is kind of falling behind in experience. Because he has the Smite, he gets less experience from lane minions. So he's going to start falling behind compared to the Alistair. And I'm trying to figure out if there is even a situation where Execration can actually even team fight. Now, obviously, the Baron should be another big thing for them. Like, especially if they could even go for a Baron steal. Because if you have double smite, you should be able to outsmite anybody, right? If you just coordinate your smites properly, you should be able to outsmite pretty much anybody. The Camille is now struggling versus the Fiora in the side lane. This is a matchup that Fiora will win. Like, pretty much, she wins it from early levels, but she'll win it in the late game as well. Fiora will just win this matchup in the side lane. If you can, okay, well, right here, the Fiora messed up because you want to use the you know, the thing that riposte. You need to riposte the hook shot. So you need to riposte the hook shot to win that matchup 100% of the time. Because if the hook shot comes out, you riposte the Camille, you know where she's coming from, you know which direction she's coming from, and she just gets stunned. And then you just pop your ultimate, you proc the vitals, and you kill her. That was just a bit of a misplay from the Fiora. Really good from EXE though. They're claiming back gold on the map. They're going to get a tower. They've kept it now relatively even. So, you know, this game's not in a bad spot. They've got Infernal. Ocean Drake is coming up. You have a double smite that you can look to secure it with. Looks like that's the Kennen ultimate used as well. And he gets sniped out. Now, don't go Baron. Don't be greedy. Don't do Baron. Don't be greedy. Oh, they're so greedy. Oh, they're so greedy. Oopsie daisy. Oopsie daisy. Oopsie daisy. Oopsie daisy. Oopsie daisy. They're so greedy. Just hit your back ports and go and set up for Ocean Drake. Ah! It could have been an easy Ocean Drake secure, and then you've got Infernal and Ocean, the two best Drakes in the game. It looks like they're going to go for it anyway, but that was a needless engage. They're going to get it, just back out. Okay, fine. They get the Ocean Drake, but still, you gave up you know, an unnecessary set of kills there. And I think it's partly coming due to your lack of vision in the enemy jungle. So you don't know where the enemies are in their own jungle, so you can't tell when they're moving into river. And that's one of the problems that I'm seeing Execration has right now. I don't really see much vision on that for anybody. I think there's just a lot of sweeping going on right now. But it looks like the Baron's getting started up like ASAP. I mean, you have a Vi, you have a Kaiser. That's really, really good. Pressure coming down onto the Wukong gets forced out. They've actually stopped the Baron. That's the main thing. You stop the Baron, but they are going to go back onto it right now. So they are forcing Execration to walk up to them. There is the Jhin ultimate. Just get some of your smites onto the pit. Get some of your smites. Oh, they couldn't get their smites onto the pit. The Wukong reset. Maybe they just thought that there was no way. Nice pick up there. Actually, they do get the Kaiser. Jhin didn't have GA, so that's fine. That's a really nice headbutt out of the Camille ultimate. Yeah, I mean, you can't do that to an Alistair. I don't know. Didn't really feel very coordinated from Execration. I feel like if I was Wukong, I wouldn't have bothered backing. Like, if you know that they're starting Baron and they're forcing it, just run in, and with the Gragas, either you're distracting for the Gragas, or the Gragas is distracting for you. Just get your smites onto the Baron pit in that scenario. Just get your smites onto the Baron pit. I don't care if you end up losing a couple of your lives. If you lose 2 people for the Baron, absolutely worth it. Because now, like, you've lost major objectives that you really needed with a double smite. Because double smite is all about objective control. That's a massive amount of damage onto the Wukong. He literally just flashes into the enemy lines. And yeah, Wukong just overstepped. Vi immediately turns onto the juicy target of the Gragas, who really doesn't have the experience of the gold to be useful at this point in time. And they are just going to push straight on to the Nexus. And with the Baron and the Kennen ultimate, they should be able to get it. Okay. Right. Double jungle. Do we think it's good? Rate it out of 10. I rate it a oopsie daisy. That's what I rate it. I think it has its merits. I think the objective control you could see was relatively strong when they got the setup. I just think it wasn't executed very well. When you're running double jungle, you need to have two main goals. Your first goal is deny camps from your enemy because you have another smite. So you can walk in, kill a camp, smite it, walk out. Don't even need to take the whole camp. Just take the big one. So the big Krug, the big Razorbeak, the Gromp. Try and get a blue buff steal. There wasn't enough aggressive jungling from a double jungle setup. Secondly, they initiated a lane swap and they grouped up on the tower, gave it all those extra resistances, and they couldn't get the tower down quickly enough. They ended up getting the tower in the end, but they didn't get it off the first Fiora dive, which would have been possible with the previous lane swap changes. When they changed them this patch, not that possible anymore, as you could see. Secondly, their setup on neutral objectives was horrible. There was that big greed play where they stuck around at Baron. Gragas threw a barrel at the Baron like they were planning on setting up for it. They all got caught. They got the Ocean Drake in the end, but they gave away a load of needless pressure around the Baron pit. That was poor. And also I think that they let RRQ get away with that Baron for free. They didn't even try to contest it when they had double smite. If you just get your Gragas and you Wukong into the pit there, it makes it much harder for Vi to secure that Baron. And it was so close to being smite stolen away as well. And once the Baron was gone, you've lost the main objective that helps you win the game with this setup, and you couldn't use it. So it's a bit of a shame, really. I think there is a place for double jungle, but I'm not entirely convinced this was it. Let's go to the next game, though. Another interesting strategy that came out in the Icon series that I want to talk about. Okay, so this is the 5th game between Team Secret and Omega. Obviously, in the last series, we saw that Execration got knocked out by RRQ. This is Omega versus Team Secret. This is the 5th game of the series, the decider match. And we saw Omega Esports pull out a mid. So they put their AD carry mid, and they also threw in a mid lane support Ashe. So we have support Ashe with mid lane Kai'Sa. So essentially you're putting your duo lane mid. You're putting Akali top and Corki bot, who are both very comfortable solo laners, by the way. So you can put Corki into the solo laner. And we actually saw Team Secret immediately respond by keeping the Braum Orianna mid and letting the Ezreal solo lane by himself, which he was very capable of doing. But this was kind of wild. We saw this a lot through this series where they would put their AD carry mid with their support. And this is support Ashe as well, which is why I wanted to talk about this game, because it's even more crazy. Again, like you have 3 AD carries on Omega. Which actually versus Team Secret's composition isn't so bad, because you're just looking to play at range consistently. You just need to make sure that you don't get locked up by Braum, because the problem is that if Corki, Ashe, or Kai'Sa get hit by Braum or kicked by Lee, they're probably dead, right? You haven't really got a front line right now. Vi does not constitute as a front line. So my thought process is that you're just setting up a 1-3-1 comp where you have Akali in a side lane, Corki in a side lane. They just push those side lanes, and then Ashe and Kai'Sa just clear waves mid lane over and over again and make it impossible to push. Whereas Team Secret, they've just got a more standard team fighty comp, like Orianna with the Lee Sin, just looking to get a big shockwave off. You have then the protection of the Braum, a very safe AD carry, and Ezreal, you just play front to back, or you try and like find a pick with Lee Sin, and then either Fiora split pushes or she can join the team fight. So obviously she's better as a split pusher. Let's take a look at this though. This was kind of crazy. Seeing a support Ashe, but also seeing an AD carry rotate mid. Now what putting your duo lane mid does is allows you to do this. You have immediate priority in the mid lane. So this achieves two ends, right? When you have a priority mid, it achieves 2 things, right? It achieves essentially you have the ability to push into the enemy jungle, but also you can protect your own jungle much more readily as well, which you're seeing here. Like the Lee Sin obviously is now invading into the red side jungle, but you can immediately respond if you're Omega. Now Impressive does get locked up, Chewy is here, but I mean there is a this is kind of like a good situation. Tamelap's just overextended there, but I think they should be able to secure their own red buff, right? They should be able to secure their own red buff. And that should allow them to get a 3 buff. Now, if Tamelap's hadn't just positioned really badly and actually had gone the safe way round, they would have been able to protect their own red buff with much more ease. Looks a little bit fishy, though. Looks like they've kind of given up on their own red buff scenario. JLC did get taken down pretty low there in that trade versus the Fiora. Tamelapse, if you just not stood where you stood, you would have been perfectly fine, and that would have been a really good start from Omega. Like, you take the early push priority of the Kai'Sa Ashe, you use the fact that you push the minion wave very early to go for a red side invade. You then rotate back to your own jungle. You've got 2 ranged, lots of slow and crowd control with the Ashe with her arrows. You should be easily able to secure that red buff without anybody dying, but Tamelapse just unfortunately put himself in an awkward spot. However, the end goal has now kind of been achieved. You did 3 buff the enemy jungler on first rotation. You did get his red buff, your blue buff, and your own red buff, which means you got 3 major buffs in the early game. But I think that Team Secret responded really well here because they've just put the Braum mid, because Ezreal is really comfortable as a solo laner. Like, if that was anybody else, if that was like, I don't know, a Jinx, for instance, that'd have been pretty bad. That was a very close arrow, by the way. I'm not entirely convinced that I love cross-map arrow plays with Ashe. I think they're not very consistent and you kind of waste the arrow. I would much rather have that arrow like for the dragon fight, for instance. You know, the dragon fight that's coming up now? I would have much rather had that. That's a very aggressive dive by JLC, and I think he's going to die here as well. He didn't need to step up there. Vi had the kill 100%, and actually that dive was so poorly timed by Omega that they're just giving up the Mountain Drake for free. And I don't even know if because they don't have the Ashe arrow to go for it. They literally don't have the Ashe arrow to even force an engage here. They didn't have the Corki package set up, and Vi was still on the other side of the map. Now, whether it was in the strategy for Omega to just not go for the first Drake, I don't know if I agree with that. You have an Ashe with, you should have had the Ashe arrow for a lot of CC. Instead, you went for a weird cross-map play. You have the individual Vi lockdown. You have the Corki package. You have a lot of execute potential with the Akali. I feel like this entire early game has been misplayed by Omega, and it could have gone so much cleaner for them. They could have honestly had this game in the bag just from that early 3-buff start, putting the Lee Sin behind. Then they should have easily been able to secure Dragon. They had the better Dragon secure comp because of the tools they had to work with if they used their ultimates correctly. And it now looks like they're not even going to be able to contest this Rift Herald because Ezreal's rotated up. Now, it looks like there is a dive onto the Corki, but the minion wave much better suited for the bot lane push. And they're also going to shove mid lane in here as well. So actually, this is a little bit of an oopsie-daisy. This is a little bit of an oopsie-daisy from Team Secret. They gave away that turret for free. Nice engage onto the Orianna there. Good kick from the Lee Sin, but I think he's going to get caught out. That was a really good response. And honestly, like, going and trying to tower dive a Corki who's got Valkyrie, that's difficult to do. That's really difficult to do. And he Valkyries away. You didn't have the minion wave to immediately go for the turret. It was just a poorly executed play on the top side of the map from Team Secret, and they couldn't even convert it into the Rift Herald. Now, Corki could pick up the package now, and we are actually looking at a fight that Omega can definitely contest. Like, you have the Ashe arrow, which is up. You have the Corki package. The Vi ultimate shouldn't be too long off cooldown. Neither should the Akali ultimate. This is something that I don't think Team Secret can even contest. And now you've got an option for the next Drake, which is coming up in less than a minute, to just drop the Rift Herald top. Go and drop the Rift Herald in the top lane. Which I hope. Oh, again, I like cross map arrows. I'm not entirely sure. This is a very, very aggressive push by Impressive, by the way. And he's just going to be able to get away. Did he have Ghost? No, how did he get away so quickly? Like, I mean, he must have just been lunging. Who's got the Rift Herald? That's what I want to know. Because I feel like you just drop this Rift Herald top when Dragon's spawning, and it's going to create some immediate pressure for Dragon. Like, just drop the Rift Herald top, because then someone has to respond to it, or you're going to get another tower for free anyway. Like, where's the Rift Herald going? You should be using it by now. This is free. Like, you've got mid lane tower. There's no point dropping it mid. It's not going to get anything done. That's a very, very aggressive play by JLC, and it may have just given away the first Dragon, and it has. Okay. That's a good Vi ultimate, though. Tamelapse is still going. Okay. Vi! That's pretty good. I mean, they've traded back nicely. It's a 2-for-2 overall. Still, like, I would have just loved to have seen the Rift Herald drop top, honestly. Okay, get the River Sculler. Get the River Sculler. Use the Rift Herald somewhere. Use it somewhere. Use the Rift Herald top. Drop it top. Drop the Rift Herald top. Drop the Rift Herald top. Please drop the Rift Herald top. Use it somewhere! Ah! Okay. Thank you. You're on it, Corky. I'm a big fan, although that was a really nice engage from Team Secret. They've traded 1-for-1 overall. That's JLC in the back line, though, going deep. Tamelapse is there as well. It's a 2-for-2 overall, and the Rift Herald is top. This is good, but you don't have the Jungler Smite. Arise went for a very, very aggressive package that was a little too aggressive, unfortunately. Little too aggressive. Really good play until that moment from Omega Esports. And they lose the dragon. They could have had the dragon and the top lane turret if they just played it a little bit more defensively. Okay, let's take a look back here. Really good stuff from JLC, by the way. But that package, not convinced. Not convinced. I would have used it to block the entrance to the river. So I would have just used that package to block the entrance to the river, making it much more difficult for Tatsuri and Azar to just walk over, and then use my Valkyrie to again burn a little path towards the dragon. That was a way to. What are you going to do with that arrow? Like what are you going to do with that arrow stronger? That was just way too aggressive from Corky, and it kind of threw the play. Like that was such a nice setup. Honestly, like, you know, I was screaming for the Rift Herald to get used a little bit earlier, but that was such a nice setup from Omega. Like, they get top lane tower, and if they just played it a bit more defensively with the package, they could have very easily got like top lane tower and secured themselves the third Ocean Drake. They didn't even need to go for Drake. Like, they could have just threatened it and not actually started it. Again, super aggressive onto the Fiora. Is she just gonna get away with this? She's actually just gonna get away with that. That is absolutely disgusting. Fiora is a nutty champion, dude. And now again, Team Secret just looking for the engage. Good Zhonya's by Tamelapse, but they don't have the safety of the tower. Way too over aggressive onto a Fiora in the side lane, honestly. Like way too over aggressive onto a Fiora in the side lane. Azar is playing this super nicely as well. All of this aggression from Impressive and JLC onto just a Fiora who's at her own tier 2 tower is throwing the game for Omega. Like, it's throwing the game. Like, the strategy of putting the... I liked what they did, right? They put the Ashe Kai'Sa mid to shove, get early prio, worked well. Like it was a really nice early setup, but there have been some individual decision-making errors, in my opinion, that have really kind of resulted in a rather awkward circumstance or turn of events around big neutral objectives. And we have the Infernal Dragon spawning in 30 seconds as well. And the Baron is up. And obviously right now, Team Secret look very much stronger in the team fights. They're going to get themselves another Tower 2, which puts it up to around a 4k gold lead. I don't think Omega are out of this, by the way. I think they have got like good lockdown. Like they've got a really good lockdown team where they can just get a lot of single target focus. The Fiora, to me, is a problem. Like Azar, oh my god. That was a big engage from Azar, and he gets away with it as well, because I think he had the Zhonyas. So they just get a freak. Oh no, they trade 1-for-1. That's actually okay. You get the Ezreal. You might even get the tower here. That's very close to going down. Looks like the Infernal Dragon's getting focused down. This is good from Team Secret, by the way. I love the spooky ghosts coming out to prevent anybody getting close to it. This is good from Team Secret because they have the jungler. They know they've got the jungle advantage. They know that the SMO can't actually get close, so they're going to secure themselves the Infernal Dragon. And who is actually soaking damage in this team? That's the problem that I think that I have with the Omega comp right now. Like, there's no... If this was an Alistar, or even just like, I don't know, what other... like Leona? Like Alistar or Leona or something? I don't know if Leona's actually banned for this tournament. They may be, but... If this is just a tankier support... Like, you can have someone to absorb the pressure from Fiora, but Fiora can literally run onto an important target every single time because there's no one to absorb pressure, and she's not easy to kill with riposte. Like, Fiora gives herself a little bit of time to kind of remaneuver in team fights. Again, the Ashe Arrow, like, even if you hit that Ashe Arrow, what were you doing with it? Like, were you going to engage, like, over the wall by yourself? And now the Orianna's coming online, the late game Orianna. That's a big aggressive package, but it's a bit more defensive. They go straight. Look, again, Fiora able to just get out of the team fight. They bop. And obviously Lee Sin, super good against Akali as well. Like, Akali goes in her shroud in the middle of the team fight. whack down your Tempest and Cripple, you immediately reveal her and she dies. That's why Lee Sin is so good against Akali. Like, she goes into her shroud for safety and Lee Sin just says nope. And I think Tamelapse is dead here. This might even just be game. They're going to get the kill onto Tamelapse, and this is game for Team Secret. Damn. Team Secret beating Omega. That is a surprise. I knew the result of this, by the way, so not massively surprised. But I don't know. That felt like it could have been Omega's game to win. Like, they were in such a good position. And I think they had a really good early game with the way they kind of a really good early game. I mean, Tamelapse has some pretty bad positioning, like, for that first fight. But then these weird individual decision-making errors, like Vi goes top for a dive onto Fiora when the dragon's up, so free a Mountain Drake to Lee Sin. Vi goes and tries to dive at Fiora at her own tier 2 in the bot lane, doesn't kill her, loses her GA, and the rest of your team gets engaged on. Another bad decision. I just feel like the calls that were made, like, who cares about a Fiora who's at her own tower? If the Fiora's at your tier 2 tower, sure, try and go for the kill, as long as you're not going to lose anything else on the map. But if you're going to make that play, tell the rest of your team to back off. Tell the rest of your team to get nowhere near the enemy. It just felt like there was a bit of miscommunication from Omega in this game. But Team Secret, big congrats to them, because obviously they moved on to that second day. I will be doing some second day breakdown this week as well. But these are just some interesting strategies that I wanted to highlight. Like, we had the double jungle, and then we had the Ashe support, like, duo mid lane, which was really weird, but it kind of worked out for what it was supposed to achieve. They just weren't able to convert it into the win. And obviously Omega going out is a little bit of a surprise, honestly. Most people expected Omega to do really well this tournament, especially in such a big one like the Icon series. But congratulations to Team Secret.